There is no such thing as the one. I know for a lot of you that's going to be a potentially hurtful thing to hear. Your whole life you've been fed this narrative that you're going to meet one special person that's just right for you. Unfortunately, guys, this could not be further from the truth. I would argue this is even more applicable in a modern context compared to the past. To fully understand this concept, you have to ask yourself, why is the ideology so different than the reality? When I'm talking about the ideology of it, I'm talking about the fantasy picture you were sold. Growing up, you have this idea that you're going to meet a girl, she's going to love you the same way you love her, you're going to live together, you're going to build together, you're going to have a family eventually, and then you're going to have a white picket fence and a house, and you get the whole deal. And now you, as an individual guy, whether you're in high school, university, postgraduate, what you're experiencing is that no girl genuinely wants to build with you unless it's on her terms. Some of you might even accept her terms initially because you just don't know any better. And then, for most guys, the relationship ends in a horrible way where they're the winner and you're the loser. It's always in these moments, of course, that you look up to the sky and you question, why is this happening to me? I did everything I was supposed to do. I was nice to her. I took care of her. I did the best I could to give her what she asked me to give. I trusted her. Dare I say it, but you thought that she was the one. Let's analyze briefly why she wasn't the one and no girl truly is the one. Logically speaking, 40% of men reproduce, 80% of women reproduce. Already, the math just doesn't line up. Fewer men have the opportunity to reproduce than women do. So what does that mean? Obviously, men would if they could. They simply don't have the opportunity to do so. On the basis of this simple math, it would imply that in fact you are the one, not her. The concept of the one is interesting because it implies that a specific person is somehow special or unique based on your metrics. It also implies that they're somehow rare. Have you ever asked yourself the question, can I ever find another 5'5" girl that lives in California from a single mother household that goes to school for marketing? She's white with brown eyes and loves Starbucks. She's extremely liberal with her beliefs and she wants to be a business owner. In addition to that though, she also wants to be liberated. So on her social media, you'll notice a ton of pictures of her that are, let's just say, very revealing. Have you ever asked yourself the question, is it that hard to find someone else like this? If you really start to boil it down, guys, you start to understand. There are thousands of her out there. Add an arts degree in there, now you have hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. What I'm trying to teach you is that the concept of the one is purely fantasy in nature. I would argue it's an outdated biblical concept that got applied to modern society without any of the morality. Think about the monogamous standard. One man for every one woman. Makes sense on paper. In reality though, this has never transpired. This once again compels you to ask the question, is this simply an idealistic, moralistic standard that you bought into that does not exist? Based on the evidence available, I would say it most definitely is. When you change your perspective to making yourself the one instead of her, what you'll notice is your relationships will change. And when I say change, I mean drastically improve. This is because, by default, you're simply more rare and harder to obtain. The other reason is you simply offer much more concrete value. You're expected to be gentlemanly. You're expected to drive her around. You're expected to emotionally support her at all times. You're expected to be nice. You're expected to not provide that long list of icks. Let's not forget, you're also expected to pay for dinners and provide financially. Now ask yourself the honest question. What is she, by society, expected to provide for me? What you'll find is the answer is pretty much nothing. Being nice to you is standard. Being loyal is standard. Providing intimacy is now baseline. You can't demand for her to be attractive or fit. You can't demand for her to cook and clean. You can't demand traditional standards without seeming controlling. So realistically, what are you truly gaining? In objective reality, nothing. Subjectively to you, you're gaining some comfort, some enjoyment of course. In your guys' case, probably some companionship as well. The reason I'm telling you guys this is simple. I want to open your eyes to the reality of who truly provides more value in a modern relationship. You guys are so caught up on the idea of the one. 90% of the time, you don't realize you're the one, in fact. In the end, I'm quite tired of hearing about this concept. In closing, I want you to take away at least this important fact from this video. Who is truly providing more to the relationship? Every time I ask this question, guys immediately understand that the concept of the one doesn't exist. It's a subjective fantasy, not the reality. I just want you guys to remember this concept for the next time you get scared to lose her. All you're doing is simply losing the game of perceived value instead of real value. You guys offer real value, despite what some people may tell you. Be a little more careful when you buy into these unwritten rules, especially when it comes to the concept of her being the one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.